So good evening, everybody. That is if you're in Nigeria, like myself. Good day to us, wherever we are joining this from and watching this from. We are welcome to the Power Platform User Group Nigeria session, and this is an Ask Me Anything session. We normally do have this once every month, but how are we going to be sure that people are here with us? Is there a way to get to know that people are live here? Can we, is there a way to confirm that?
Yes,
Okay, so is it via chat?
by comment.
Okay, so if you're here with us and you can hear us loud and clear, please kindly type something on the comment so that just type it hi on the comment, tell us where you're connecting from, and so we sure that we have quite a number of us live with us on this session. Okay, so while we expect that, this is being streamed on YouTube as well as on LinkedIn. So most likely would have some persons that are joining on LinkedIn who may not be able to chat directly with us on this part of the program. But we're going to start now, and we'll have an interesting discussion for today. By the way, my name is Mohsen Hamid, and I am okay. Thanks a lot for joining. I see Abdurrahim. Thank you, Victoria from Lagos, Nigeria. And I see Showa. I see. Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot, everybody, for the comment. And I welcome us once again to this particular session, this episode of Ask Me Anything session. So quickly, I would introduce myself, then I would hand over to the co-hosts before we get to our special and invited guest for today. So my name is Mohsen Hamid. Yes, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I just want to leave it at that for now. Amara, are you here? Are you able to speak?
Hi, my name is Amara India. Um,
Sorry,
welcome
Amara, because
everyone.
I started very briefly. You want to make yours brief as well. No, you can shoot.
Okay, so my name is Amara India. So I'm a Power Platform developer, and thank you guys for joining today's session. We hope to really have a fun time today. Thank you. Wishing the
Okay,
same.
thanks a lot for that, Amara. So Amara is just trying to be humble, anyways. So saying Power Platform developer means you try to be humble. So we are Power Platform specialists, expert, and the likes of those. So, but anyways, I will not go into that conversation just yet. I want our guests to introduce themselves quickly. So I would have them just talk briefly about their profile. If I would give them the entire one, I'm sure their profile would not end yet. But I just want them to be very short with it. So they just talk about themselves in a minute. Talk about what we currently do and how that ties to the conversation for today. While we resume the conversation just afterwards. So I will begin with Francis. Francis Folarami, please go on to talk about yourself, please.
Mic check. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Francis Polarumi. I'm a data analyst currently with ARM Group. By training, I'm actually a pharmacist. But along the way, I discovered a calling in data. So I've been in the maritime industry, financial institutions, both banking and non-banking. So that's all to me about me. And I think I'm a lover of Microsoft Fabric, and I think that's why I'm here this evening. So nice to be here, everyone.
Thanks a lot for honoring our invite, Francis. I need to be called too, because people would say that somehow they were called, that's why they shifted. So I need to receive that call too, but maybe I will talk to Francis later on. So now let's go to David. Please, let's hear from you, sir.
Hi, everybody. My name is David Abu from Lagos, Nigeria. I am a data analyst currently working at Microsoft as a cloud advocate for Microsoft Fabric. And also, I host, together with Francis, we host the Fabric Saturday here in Lagos.
All right. Thank you very much, David. David is actually well known to most people. So maybe there might not be anybody on this call who doesn't know David. It's very possible that everyone knows David. So, but it's just normal that others have introduced themselves. Let's have David introduce himself too. Otherwise, we may not have need that. Okay, so thanks a lot for joining once again. And this is the Ask Me Anything session. So what we are here to do essentially is to clear our doubts about some things. So we are having a focused conversation on the Microsoft Fabric. So Microsoft Fabric is still pretty new. Maybe not many people have heard about it yet. I hope that something is right. I see that my other persons on the call have left for some reasons. Let me quickly get to that. But while that is being resolved, so Microsoft Fabric is still pretty new, but let me just even be sure that I'm also live. So maybe I'm just guessing that I'm still live and then something has happened. May we just confirm on the chat to me that I am still live, please? Can we still hear me? Anybody? Okay, I think I am. Those of us on the side of YouTube that we are able to chat, please could we just assist me drop something on the chat so I am sure. Okay, thanks a lot for that, Formulayo. So Microsoft Fabric was launched this year, around the mid of the year, if I'm not mistaken, and that was announced at the last Ignite, if I'm still correct with that. And so a number of people have been asking some questions around that to say that what are some of the potentials. Usually when products come out like that, there seems to be a need for people to get to understand the products more properly before they will go on to adopt it, to even learn it. And even at the level of organizations, before that adoption would happen, they have to come in place some level of understanding about the potentials that the products would have. So this conversation will be multifaceted. We want to ensure that at the end of this conversation, those of us that are prospective learners, we would have gotten answers to most or all of the questions that we may have about this particular product. And then if we have people who are decision makers in organizations as well, we may want them to also clear their doubt as to what potential does Microsoft Fabric brings to their business. So we want to clear all of these at both ends. So we have quite a number of questions prepared, while we would want our audience to also put forth their question as this conversation proceeds. So if you have anything whatsoever about Microsoft Fabric, probably you've been looking at getting answers to some things around Fabric, just try to see how you can put that on the chat for us so that we see that at this end and we can get that across to our distinguished guests. Rachel, are we able to bring others on board here? Hi, how are you? Okay, so I see myself alone. Audience, please
I'm back.
apologies. Okay. Oh, thank God. So I was getting scared already. In fact, I would say that I'm sweating already because I'm having a feeling that all of these questions that people would have about Microsoft Fabric now, how will I answer them? So I don't eventually shoot myself on the leg. But thank God that we are back. So I would quickly hand over to Amara. I've initiated the conversation already, and I know that our audience, they are waiting to listen to some of the questions we have, and as well, while the conversation proceeds, they would also put forth some of the questions that they have or some queries that they may want to seek clarifications or they want to get clarifications for. So Amara, over to you now.
All right, thank you very much, Musin. So we are going now into the questions we got for Microsoft Fabric. So the first question is, what is Microsoft Fabric and what are the benefits that comes with using Microsoft Fabric? So David or Francis, the floor is open.
Okay, let Francis go first. Francis.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, David. Thank you, everyone. So, Microsoft Fabric. The first thing people always ask is that why Fabric? What was why that name? But well, I don't have an answer, but that's the name. So, Microsoft Fabric is just one-stop shop for everything data. Either the data road that you know, or the one that you don't even know, or data road that may even emerge in future. Because Microsoft Fabric is actually the future. Either you are a data analyst, you are a data scientist, you are a data engineer, analytics engineer, or whatever the role that you may have within data space. Microsoft Fabric is that one-stop shop or that we can do every of our projects. So everybody is coming on this platform to do their projects on this platform. It's an integrated environment where you collaborate on every data project, from where you are ingesting your data to the most advanced analytics that you may want to do, even to your machine learning, to your AI, or whatever you want to do. So it is that platform for the current role that we know, and even the roles that are going to emerge in the foreseeable future. Because now everybody is talking about generative AI. And in fact, one of the cap that Microsoft is using to push Microsoft Fabric is the fact that it is the data platform of the era of AI. Everybody will agree that we are not in AI. Everything AI has done this, AI has done that, AI has done this. So, but data platform for the era of AI is actually the Microsoft Fabric. So that is what Microsoft Fabric is all about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francis. So, David.
Yeah. So one thing there is that one of the big problem that we have within the data space is either you're a data engineer, analytic engineer, data analyst, data scientist. One of the things that we always have issues with is integrations. We want to integrate from point A to point B, point B to point C. Oh, can I connect from here to here? Can I connect here to here? So they are all integration issues. And one thing that Microsoft Fabric is here to solve is to cut out all integration issues. So imagine instead of you taking like two, three platforms or products because you want to build an end-to-end solution. Microsoft Fabric is saying that you don't need two, three of different companies' products that talks to each other. Some might not even talk to each other. Some before they talk to each other, you have to find your way round, 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 round. But what Microsoft Fabric is saying that from beginning to the end of your data project or your end-to-end analytic project, you can do it on just one platform. Same thing, the same way you have Power Platform, whereby you can build on Power Platform, you can connect your automation on Power Platform, you can do visualization on Power Platform, you can build local chatbots on Power Platform. Everything is within that Power Platform. They are connected some way. So you see your Dataverse as your data source. From there, you use it to build your app, you build your low code, everything that like that. Then you build a visualization. Now, what Fabric is saying is that the same way, either where your data set is, bring it into your lakehouse in Fabric. Then from there, either you do your data science project, you do your analytic project, you do your analytic engineering project using your SQL or Spark, everything like that within one platform. So the basic thing for you to understand about Fabric is that for me to build an end-to-end solution, instead of using different products, let me use just only one product, and that is Microsoft Fabric.
Hmm. That seems to be interesting, at the same time it's scary. So because when I hear you are integrating Spark, you are integrating with PySpark, you are integrating with this seems to be a lot. And then I know this will be sparking a lot of questions in the minds of the audience. Yeah. So if you have questions, please drop them on the chat. Just before now, I saw our other guest, Nonso, but it seems she lost her internet again. When she comes back up, I would have her introduce herself before we go on with the other questions. So very quickly now, David, so you had mentioned some of the level of integrations that could happen within Microsoft Fabric as a whole. If we talk about Power BI now, Power BI has some target users. So now we're talking about analysts, report builders. They are the ones that probably they would use Power BI most extensively. When we talk about the Power Platform, maybe we are talking about local developers. who are the target audience or the target users for the Microsoft Fabric?
Anybody that uses data is a target audience. Anybody that uses data from any point in time, you should understand. Everybody should understand that data. People use data at different points of the chain. Let's call it a chain or the process. Some use data at the beginning of the project. So those are the analytic engineer, the data engineer, because they are the ones sourcing for those data. So your data can be in a sales, maybe let's say in a sales app or in a call center app or in a Dynamics 365 solution or anywhere your data is or Excel or stuff like that. But you want to bring everything together into Fabric. Now, there are set of people who are at that place. They call them, they maybe data steward, data engineers. So they are at that beginning phase of Fabric. So those are the set of people that they can use Fabric. And there are some people at the middle level. You have the people who clean the data, who are looking at the data, who are using Azure Data Factory. So people are just transforming the data in a way that should make sense to be used. Now, those set of people, analytic engineer, even sometimes data analysts clean it, sometimes the data scientists are cleaning, sometimes analytic engineers are cleaning. So they are there. Then you have people who model the data in any way that they want to use it, or people who are visualizing that data. So you're talking about the data analyst. Those are the people who use it, and it gets to a point in time that the let's call them the people who consume the data. We call them the data consumers. Those ones also use Fabric. They might not use it at the, let's say, the skill set level, but they need to consume what we've built. So that those ones also use the Power BI report or the results of the model that is being done by this data science scientists and different levels. So it's not as if that they are just selected few people that needs to use Fabric. It's just that if in your day to day you might likely build stuff within the data ecosystem, then you should use Microsoft Fabric.
Hmm. Okay, thanks a lot for that response, David. So if I would understand and summarize that, maybe it would mean that everybody would use Fabric, the level would just differ. So some people will be at the level of building, some will be at the level of just interacting with the built solution within Fabric. Would that summarize it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot for that once again. Amara, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. So my video will not be up for a bit. Yeah, so moving on to the next question. Seeing that Microsoft Fabric is a new tool and most organizations are not using it yet, do you think it's worth learning?
So Microsoft Fabric just came out 4 months ago. So if I ask you now, Amara, you said that, oh, you're a Power Platform developer. The question is that, was it the time that Power Apps came out that you started using Power Apps? Maybe yes, maybe no. Sometimes a lot of people who use Power Platform started using it, let's say, um 2 years after Power Platform came out. Or I remember in 20, was it 2018 or 2019? I can't remember. It was around Microsoft Ignite when they announced there was Power Apps before, but I think they announced Power Automate or Power Virtual Agent. I can't remember if it was 2019, but there was one of the Power Platform too that was announced 2019 that they now use to call everything Power Platform. Now, it was that time that, oh, in 2020, 2021, that's when people started using it. So right now, people are just understanding Microsoft Fabric. That is one. Secondly, is that is in public preview. What does it mean by public preview? It means that they are still pushing out things inside of Fabric. It's not fully fleshed. So you can't even take anything into production. At least everybody will understand putting things into production. So you can't take it and say, oh, we want to do a data project and we have to use Fabric and we must push it into production. No, until it is, for me, until it is generally available. when fabric is not generally available, that is when companies will begin to now start using it, because you can now push into production the things that you are building with Microsoft Fabric. So those are the things. Francis, do you have more additions to say to that?
Yeah, okay. So for Microsoft Fabric, I think one thing people don't know is the fact that it's not ready to be used does not mean we should not learn it. Now, if you are going to use something, there is always a preparation phase. When you now go to production, at that point, I don't think you should be making any mistake again. So we are in our incubating phase now, where you are trying to try this out. So these things are coming together because Fabric at the end of the day is bringing about existing products in an integrated way. So how do we bring about all these two together without actually causing problem? Because like David was trying to explain, you don't just bring something you have not tested into production. Because, for example, now say you are working in a bank and then you are putting a data analytic project for a bank, maybe like a fraud detection, for example, then you are doing that on Microsoft Fabric. So we need to be able to get that assurance that, okay, we use this thing in production now. Uh, is it going to work fine? And then when we get to that stage, who are those that are going to be using it? It is people that have been learning it in these years of introduction before it's now fully adopted. If you are not learning it when you are testing it, then how do you now get into the opportunity? For me, I feel like you are preparing your axe to cut down a tree. So when you're not able to cut the tree at the end of the day, you are sure that your axe is well sharpened and then it becomes easy peasy for you. I think that's just the way I want to say that.
Thank you very much, guys. Over to you, Mohsen.
Okay, thank you, Amara. Thanks a lot, sir, for that conclusion, Francis. So, if it was permitted, I would have rephrased that in Yoruba, but I think it will not be permitted here because we have quite a number of people who may not understand that. So, essentially, is we don't start learning when you need it. So, not until job adverts now start to have Microsoft Fabrics on them, they're now looking for fabrics. I'm saying fabrics. I think it's fabric developers. You would not start learning at that point in time. It will be late. So if you would be interested in this path, this is the very best time to learn. So now if we have decided to learn, the very next concern for us, most especially for students, people that are still seeking out job opportunities, is the concern of most Microsoft products comes with licensing. So for us as learners, how do we manage that licensing thing? Are we still going to pay? If you are paying, how much are we paying? And then looking at the issue of having to make even dollar related payment from Nigeria now, that's a concern. So what opportunities lie in that for us prospective learners in the area of licensing? What is it for us, or is the licensing related or restricted to just the organizations that would use those? Um, Interestingly, I think David and Francis, they seem to be out of here. Okay, so please, just again, if you have questions, kindly do drop those on the chat for us. We're sure we begin to attend to them as they come in. So I see a question already from Gifted. Please hold on while we have our guests back. We're going to push that question to them so they can respond to that much adequately. Another announcement that I'm going to be making for now is this Ask Me Anything session is not only happening once and just this time. This is something that we do every month. So we need to look out for this for the next set of announcement. I'm sure that while we're wrapping up, there will be links to join the WhatsApp group, the Power Addict WhatsApp group. So if we are not there yet, it may be interesting for us to join the WhatsApp group so that we don't miss out of any of such information. Also, we have a LinkedIn channel or a LinkedIn what was it called? Is it channel or group? Yes, I think it's group. So we have a LinkedIn group. We may as well want to join that. All of those links will be made available to us on the chat so that we can join those, because those are the media via which we disseminate most of this information. This is one of the interesting sessions that we have planned out for this year. We need to ensure that we have all of this plugged into our calendar so we don't miss out of any of those. You're welcome, Gifted. Thanks a lot, Ibrahim. Good evening. You're welcome. Thanks a lot for joining us. While we wait for our guests to join us, thanks a lot, Rachel, to join us back. I'm pretty sure it's one of the issues, maybe technical issues, the internet or connectivity issues that will be addressed as we go on, and then hopefully we have them join us back. So just for the benefit of some of us that probably we are just thinking again, uh, those of us that we have zero knowledge of tech, and then you're thinking that maybe fabric might be an area that you want to explore. One of the things I tell people generally is that when it comes to learning, of course, this is part of the conversation for today. But when it comes to learning, and the learning we're talking about is you have decided on a particular path or a particular track to follow. So this is not a thing of you're still not sure. So you have decided you want to follow the fabric track, you have decided you want to follow the power platform track or some related tracks. One of the key things that you should do is to seek to talk to some professionals in that regard. And the reason why I'm saying this is for some things that we want to learn. Let's say, for instance, now you want to learn software engineering. You know, it's quite more popular. You get to see a lot of information about them. You get to see a lot of tricks and tweaks around them. But when it comes to some things, Power Platform, for instance, you may not see as much. And because the learning may not be as direct as some other things, you need to be better informed about your learning. So, one of the things that I generally would advise people is to see that you talk to professionals, engage professionals in whatever thing you want to learn. People are doing it quite already. So, thank goodness that my guests are back now. So, I'm feeling the heat. I don't know why this is happening this evening. It's
But
just so
wait,
strange.
is it taking me and um, Francis
Francis,
out?
at the same time, honestly,
I,
is just
then
something else.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
don't
it's
think
streamer,
it is.
StreamYard, yeah?
I think it's StreamYard. I think it's StreamYard. If it's taking us out the same time, I think it's
Yes.
Yeah,
StreamYard.
exactly. And that was the time that Tamara also was kicked out. So I was the
Uh,
only loner. I was the only one left here. It was so lonely. I couldn't even hold it back. But thank God you are back with me now. So what we were discussing, okay, was that we're talking about learning, licensing for learners. So would you quickly want to address that, David,
okay.
while we
Yeah.
look at it from the organization perspective as well?
So it's free. Like to learn is
Oh,
free. And I'm going to give you a code right now for you to learn. I'm going to type it here. It's just free. Right now, it's free. And you need to try to learn it very fast so that you can actually get it before Microsoft says, oh, it's not free anymore. You understand? But it is actually free. There is no, there is no, um, what do I call it now? There is no money to it for you to learn. It's just for you to go to your Power BI service and upgrade it to Fabric. Then you are good to go. I posted it in the chat. Rachel
sorry,
could take
David,
it
you
and post
posted
it.
in the. Okay, so it's Rachel that could push it. Okay, okay.
Yeah, Rachel will push it there. So I'm going to also there is a Cloud Skills challenge that is going on right now for Fabric. You can also take it up from there. Let me put it there, so that you can use it to also learn. So for learning, you you don't need license to learn. It's actually free to learn for 60 days. So right now, if you want to learn Fabric, please learn it very, 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 very fast. So yeah, so it's so important.
Now, let me add what David I just said just now. You know, when before Fabric was announced, I'm a heavy user of Power BI, and at some point I was thinking of upskilling. Then I was thinking, okay, Power Platform. Power BI is just a part of Power Platform. There is Power Hub, there is Power Automate. But at that point, I had people who are core Power Platform developers. So I was not really interested in Power Platform. So I was interested in Synapse Analytics, Data Factory, but getting access to learning it was difficult because one, I have to go on Azure Portal to learn. And for me to go to Azure Portal, I needed card to access Azure Portal. And of course, you know the situation of things in Nigeria. So it was really difficult for me to get access to it. I had to do an exam without having access to Azure Portal. But now Fabric is still free. Like David said, everything that you have learned on Azure Portal is now in a way available in Fabric. Your Synapse engineering is in Fabric, your data factory is in Fabric. Now I'm learning with data factory course, but I'm using data factory in Fabric because I don't have access to Azure Portal. And by the time it's live, then Microsoft may just say that it's no longer available for you to learn free. And then it is when you are in an organization that has Azure Portal subscription that you can even learn with Fabric. So when you learn now, you are better positioned to get the role when they are coming out because it is still free. Because Azure Portal is not something you get freely, especially if you are in Nigerian. You are already defeated in a way. So please let us learn as fast as possible before things get monetized.
Agreed.
Thank you very much for that point. We need to catch this young. So it is free for now. David has mentioned, Francis also mentioned that we have 60 days to learn this. So I believe in 60 days. 60 days is actually even too much if we are devoted to learn this really. So we probably will complete it. I know maybe Francis completed this in less than a month or thereabout. So it's possible that we also do learn it quite fast, and then you are able to implement it before it gets before it will require that you pay to continue your learning. So let's use the links that David has also shared on the chat, and I think we have answered a question already, but we get to some of those much later. Amara, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everyone. So our next question is going to be on Microsoft Fabric being integrated with other Microsoft products such as Power Apps, Power BI, Automation. Like we would like to know how Microsoft Fabric integrated those products too.
Okay, so first things is that it is integrated into Azure. So most of everything Azure is connected straight up. And one beautiful thing about Microsoft products is that they are always connected. Just take it. They are always connected. So it's connected with Azure, like Francis already said about the Azure Data Factory, the Synapse Analytics is already inside of Fabric already, so you can pick it up from there and learn. Now another thing there is that Dataverse is already getting into Fabric, whereby you can get the data from Dataverse, connect it just with one click, just one click, and it takes you back to Fabric. That same data you go on and build from there. Either you're building a report or you're building a model, and it comes back again even to Dataverse, and you continue using that to also build your low-code development there. So they are connected one way or the other. That's one thing about it. Even M365, they are all connected. Majorly, Azure is the major things that because it's cloud, and you know that Fabric also is cloud, which means that you're not downloading something and putting it on your system like our normal Excel or PowerPoint is on cloud, which means that is actually just a website. You go to Power BI or fabric.com, log in from there, then you are already using it. So it's a software as a service. Then you pick it up from there and you continue to build from there. So you don't really need to put something to say, oh, it's on prem, it's not on prem, it's just on cloud already. So that is the way. So and they are connected because if you notice, most Microsoft tools, all Microsoft tools are on cloud. All they are on cloud. Even your Excel that you use, if you use Microsoft 365, you'll notice that they are actually online. Hosting, you'll notice that they are online because they are connected. So it's just that you now pick, oh, do I want to use, if you open it on Teams, imagine somebody sends you a message on Teams. It gives you three options. Either you edit on Teams, you edit in the app, or you edit on web, something like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everything is synced. No matter what you do, it's synced. It's only when you go to Ikeja and buy all those CDs that you know that, oh, that one is not synced. They're just on prem. But apart from that,
It is synced into your own system.
exactly, to sync into your own system is not synced to the main work itself that's supposed to do. So apart from that, so everything is connected. Your Azure, especially most all the data Azure products, the Synapse, the Cosmos DB, the Azure SQL, all of them are connected to Fabric. Maybe Francis wants to add something.
Yeah. Beyond Microsoft products, I think it's even extending its branches to other tools also. When you're talking about shortcuts, when we are talking about cloud, it's not only Microsoft that is provisioning clouds. So how do you even capture people that are on other tools, maybe on your Amazon S3 buckets? Because anything that is cloud, people can opt for different storages on other cloud providers. So Microsoft Fabric is such that even if you are not using Microsoft before, we want to bring you into Microsoft platform because this is the data platform of the era of AI. So your GCP
So I think Francis is off. Uh, so, but this time around, I'm covered. So David is here. Okay. So thanks a lot for the responses on that. I know that that's a major concern for most learners. We are already paying indirectly to learn. You have to run subscriptions on your device. Sometimes you have to power your generator. Having to buy fuel in Nigeria at this time, it comes with a lot of cost. So thinking about that and also having to pay to learn, it's a major concern. But that has been cleared now that we obviously can learn and have to pay nothing if you're doing our learnings in the next 60 days. And we have talked about the integration of fabrics to with some other Microsoft product. So the other concern, for instance, is so gift your question gifted. Your question has been answered about how to learn as a beginner. You're starting out, so your question has been cleared already. So I would just want you to refer to the previous chart, pick the links that has been shared by David, and so that you can begin your learning from there. So there is a learning and there is a challenge, I suppose. You can bookmark each of the links, and thank God that this is happening on YouTube. If we are unable to pick the link right away, we can, of course, get back to the stream later on when we are able to get to fetch those links afterwards. It's happened again, but I'm hoping that they will be back with me. So more importantly is when we go on with our learning. So you as a web developer, how do you fit in? So as a web developer, I will leave them to, I will still push this question to them, but if I will speak about this very quickly now, as a web developer, you already do have the foundation when it comes to tech. Okay, you have the foundation, you have the background when it comes to tech. You're doing some things already. Maybe you're already writing some codes depending on the kind of development you're doing on the web. So having to switch to any other area of tech is something not difficult at all. It's about your interest. So it won't be as though it is for somebody that is just starting out or who is a total novice of tech. Somebody who is a total novice of tech, the kind of strength it will require from the person to start off would not be the same that will be required of you that you're already a web developer. So switching will be much easier and faster for you. So David is back. Okay, I'm happy. And Francis, so we have a question from Gifted, which the question is what I was addressing before you came in. So Gifted is asking, he is a web developer. How easy or how can he fit into this Fabric conversation? And that was what I was responding before we came in. But I'm sure we'll have a bit of addition that would guide Gifted a bit more.
If he's interested in data, then that is fine. The first question is he interested in data? Is so if he's interested in data, then he can pick it up like that. I'm trying to also get Francis, can you get the first end-to-end course that was done on Microsoft that you did? The first end-to-end, I can remember. I'm just trying to document Microsoft Learn. So I'm going to post it also. It's beginning to end. You can check it and you do it to check. Oh,
Hello,
Yes, I hear you.
I don't know.
So
I think
Francis, did you hear David's request? David was saying that guys, if okay, Francis is off. Okay. Anyway, so what I just mean is that I'm gifted for you that you are just starting out. like David highlighted, the very first thing is about interest. So now you're already in tech. Are you looking at switching to something data? So if that is your interest, you want to go into data now, then that would define what the path to your learning will be like. And know you know that when we talk about data, data is extensive as well. So data is not just one way. We might be talking about data science, we might be talking about engineering, we might be talking about analytics engineering, might be talking about data analysis itself, and quite a number of other roles and functions when it comes to data as a whole. So you need to now narrow it down a bit more specifically to what area of data interests you. Would you want to go the analysis path? Would you want to go the engineering path, the science path, or a few other ones? And that would then inform what part of fabrics you will eventually be a specialist in. So fabric has room for all of these persons, all of these professionals. So which is the later part of this conversation. I wouldn't want to talk about now about that now. So but what it means is that for fabrics, every single person that I've mentioned, scientists, engineers, analysts, they all have a space in fabric. But for you that you're starting out, the very first thing is ask yourself, justify your passion and interest in data. Once that is justified, then the next thing would be for you to now see how you want to narrow it down. After you've narrowed it down, then of course your learning has a bit more direction now. So which is which forms the stages that I think that you are requesting for. So first, your passion. Once you're sure that you're interested, then go on to now begin your learning using the resources, and then narrow it down to what specific part of data you want to go with. Okay, so let me quickly take the other question here. So now for us, those of us that were Power BI people, there is a bit of concern from us as well. For instance, when we talk about Excel on desktop and Excel on the web, they seem to be different in some ways. There are certain things that you may be able to do on desktop, but you can't do on the web. So I hope we're following me, David and Francis.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the concern now is, now that Fabrics is on the web in the cloud, and we now have Power BI inside of Fabric, would there be such limitations as to what you can achieve within Fabrics, within Power BI on Fabric, and Power BI on your machine? I hope you understand. So now I'm talking about Power BI more like Power BI on premise and Power BI on the cloud. Would there be some discrepancies as to the functionality and what is achievable when it comes to building our solutions, or when it comes to building out end to end in Power BI?
Well, I think this question, something like that, came up in our last physical meetup. That is Power BI desktop going to extinction now that we have Power BI within Microsoft Fabric. I think what don't let me say it's going to extinction. It's not going to extinction, but there are some functionalities, of course, that we have in Fabric that is not available in the desktop version. But the cloud version is actually set out to address some of the limitations of the desktop version. For example, now you don't want to undo each data set on your on-prem. We know that with Power BI, the bigger the data, the slower it becomes. And then when you are talking about security and privacy, then it becomes a concern when you are trying to work on your desktop. But with cloud, no matter the size of your data sets, since you have a storage that can take the data sets, you just have like your virtual machine to work with your data sets. I think the cloud is actually the future. So whatever you can do in cloud that you cannot do in desktop today, in the next foreseeable future, I think they are coming to the cloud. That's my personal opinion. I think David will be able to shed more light on that, probably from inside information or anything. But whatever is not possible on desktop today, trust me, they are bringing it to the cloud. For example, data modeling was not possible before. Now you can do your data modeling.
Okay.
You can
I
do. Can you
see.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, David.
Yeah,
But I
so you
stopped
can
hearing
do your
Francis.
data modeling, yes, on cloud now. So it's a good thing. But another thing there is that know that you doing it on cloud right now, there's so many beautiful things coming back on cloud. But know that desktop is also taking good things. things are also coming up for desktop. So just be on the lookout, and that's why we have our monthly post whereby you hear from Microsoft. You like, oh, what are the changes that has happened this month, last month, next month? You are going to see it there. And also again is that we always have a timeline of things that will be putting in all these products. So those are the things that you need to look out for. But it doesn't really change that much. But one thing there is that you'll be able to use your desktop. You'll also be able to use your cloud.
Okay, thank you very much for that, David, and thank you for your submissions as well, Francis. I think we would begin to. I'm just trying to scout the chart if there is any other question from somebody, but I seem not to get one. So the other thing I would just want to push forward quickly is that now we have looked at the path to get into Fabric. We have discussed some of the concerns that people would have when it comes to learning. We have also discussed the licensing side of things and the concerns of Power BI developers as such, who might be thinking that will Fabric not eventually take up their role, or how can they continue some of what they are doing extensively on the desktop now that they are moving some things to the cloud. So the other thing is I want us to now go to a more general overview of what Fabric is about. I remember that at the start of this conversation, David highlighted some of the data roles that somehow would have some things to do in Fabric. And then I want to tie this to the question asked by Gifted when he's asking for how to start out on some of the stages in learning this. So what it seems like is if you're talking about Fabric as a general room for all data practitioners, does it mean that for a Fabric developer, you need to be in at the same time a data scientist, a data engineer, a data analyst before you can fully and just confidently wear the art of a Fabric developer? What would be our say to this?
Francis, you can go on with that.
All right. So for me, I don't think you have to be everything, but everything comes close to you. If you are a data analyst, good for you. That means you can understand where a data engineer is coming from. And then it makes collaboration easy, really. Because when the data engineer is saying that, okay, I have this blocker before, you may not be able to relate. But because you are on the same environment, whatever blocker is saying that is seeing, you can see it yourself. Or let's say, okay, data scientist is also working. You can see it in real time. You can share data sets. I don't have to start from the beginning. So just that even within Power BI, there are people that are specializes in the front end, the UI. Maybe some people stay more on the back end. Some people say that they are more experts in with Power Query, or some people say that they just like that. So that does not mean they are anything less of Power BI developer. They are still a Power BI developer, but some areas just interest us more than another person. So either you are a data engineer, you can come in and stay within the data engineering experience of Microsoft Fabric. If you're a data scientist, you can stay within data science experience of Fabric, and then it just makes things easy for you, because instead of me having to say, okay, I have my data set here that is not really available to a data scientist that wants to build a model. As a matter of fact, even in Fabric now, you can even share your warehouse. I may be working on a warehouse now as a data engineer, then I can send it to David, just like I will share any Word document. So David to actually check on it instead of actually building it on the desktop. You can easily just edit it. So as a data analyst now, I'm pushing that data warehouse or a lake house to David, who is a data analyst or a data scientist. Then you can continue working from there without having to start from scratch. So, and that's one of the problems that Fabric is set out to achieve. One copy of data for everybody. So you stay on your lane, or you can even be a complete Power Platform developer. Just like Power Platform now, there are some people that they are RPA developers. Some persons are Power developers. But there is a complete Power Platform developer or a solution architect when you are already at your PH 600 level. So the fact that you are RPA developer does not mean you cannot become a full stack, if I can say it that way, a full stack Power Platform developer. You can be a data engineer, yes. You can be a data analyst. You can be a data scientist. But you can also be a Fabric generalist where you have a touch of everything. But I think it's just about interest, really. You can be anything.
Okay, Thank you very much for that, Francis. David, you have some additions?
Yeah, the answer was good.
Okay, okay. Thank you once again, Francis. So I'm being conscious of our time as well. We are about getting to the top of the hour. I would just like us to have one parting word. I wouldn't say last two because we'll have this more time. So a parting word for now to learners, enthusiasts of fabric. What would be our advice to them? I will start with Francis.
Okay, like they say, I think when I was in secondary school, there is this saying that they say, go and write a story, make a white on a shine. I think it is shining now for Microsoft. So by the time we actually go into production, that is the when you begin to see uh, the use of that. You see it, mind on that when you introduction, who are the best at who are that? The best about people that are fabric now are in future compared to when people will be joining when it's really in production. So if you are in fabric now, you are going to become consultant to organizations in the foreseeable future because they will be trying to adopt it while you are already way ahead by the time it's already on GA. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you very much, Francis. David.
Yeah, for me is learn, try and learn. We'll put out some links out. Try and learn, improve, join the community. We have the Power Platform community called the Power Addicts. Join that community. We have Fabric Saturday community. Join that community. Let's pick it up from there. But learn. We have given you the link. It's just for you to start. There is nothing there. It's just for you to start and just start testing it and checking it out. Also you can we have an event coming up next week, or we say the upper week, October 13
2
and
weeks.
14, in 2 weeks' time, Data Fest Africa. And we for you're going to see so many data people that you can learn from and you can also build with. So join that community and you pick it up from there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Our exceptional guests, Francis and David. For some reasons, we couldn't eventually have Nonso join us. I suppose maybe it might be internet challenges, but hopefully at other times we definitely would have her on board. Thank you, everybody who has joined us from whatever platform, YouTube, LinkedIn, or wherever we have joined this session from. Thank you so much for staying through till now. Let's remember that this is not a one time thing. Next month, we'll have another Ask Me Anything session wherein we'll bring in professionals to clear our doubt about whatever challenges we might be having with our learnings, generally, or some products more specifically. Thank you so much once again, everybody. And I am the host. I remain the host. You see, I didn't do so much talking. I was only covered by my bosses that are here. It probably wouldn't have gone fine. So my name is Mohsen Hamid, and I'm a Power BI person. Maybe Francis would call me. So as Francis was called, so maybe he would call me into Fabric as well. So thank you once again, everyone, and we hope to meet at other times. Thank you and bye for now.
Everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.